Hello, Boss TV people. Welcome. We're diving straight into a developing story out of Abuja that's ignited fresh debate about land administration and authority. Just this week, the Federal Capital Territory witnessed a significant clash involving the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike and the military personnel over a disputed land site in Gaduwa district. The FCTA has now taken responsibility for the incident, but their initial findings point to a critical legal gap. Only a letter of intent was presented, not a valid approval. This immediately raises red flag about the integrity of land acquisition and development processes within the capital. We'll break down what this means, the implications for land ownership in Abuja, and why this particular incident has captured national attention. Stay tuned to Boss TV for a deep dive into the legal administrative complexities.
Officials of the Federal Capital Territory Administration have taken responsibility for the incident that occurred on Tuesday at a disputed site in the Gaduwa district involving the FCT Minister and a naval officer. The Director of the FCTA Department of Development Control, Mukhtar Galadima, while giving a detailed account of the event and clarifying the legality of the ongoing development, expressed regret over the incident. He explained that the officers on site claimed all approvals for the construction were with their lawyers and engineers. But what was eventually presented was only a letter of intent issued in 2007 by the Department of Parks and Recreation, not a formal approval. Meanwhile, the Director of Lands Administration, Chijioke Nwankwoeze, providing further context on the legal status of the land and why the development could not proceed, maintained that the claimant had no statutory title to the property.
In the company of the Chief Security Officer, the Honourable Minister, while there, we met the officers on the site, and then I inquired necessary title documents and approvals granted for the development. The response we got was all their title documents, all their approvals are with their lawyers and engineers. We advised that for every site, every development, such documents are kept on the site.
Relating to all of the papers they issued were reviewed, discussed, and a submission jointly made by the Department of Land Administration and the Department of Parks and Recreation on the 10th of June, 2025. And one of the recommendations there in that joint submission was that all letters of intent and every approval of any sort on the basis of the letters of intent given by Department of Parks and Recreation be withdrawn. All. And people who were given these papers should send in their papers for vetting.
Welcome back. That was a crucial clarification from the Federal Capital Territory Administration, directly addressing the recent face-off between Minister Nyesom Wike's team and military personnel at the disputed site in Gaduwa. The FCT officials, Mukhtar Galadima, Director of Development Control, and Chijioke Nwankwoeze, Director of Lands Administration, have unequivocally stated that the developments on the disputed property linked to a former naval chief lacked proper authorization. Let's unpack this. The incident occurred on Tuesday, creating a tense atmosphere as the FCT Minister's enforcement team confronted military personnel over ongoing construction. From the FCTA's perspective, they were simply enforcing land use regulation and ensuring compliances within the Abuja master plan. However, the presence of military personnel, reportedly armed, quickly escalated the situation, turning into a routine enforcement into a high-stake standoff. This immediate tension highlights the delicate balance between civil authority and the perceived might of security agencies, especially when land ownership is at stake. Mukhtar of Development Control detailed his team's interaction on site. When asked for necessary title and documents and approval, the officers reportedly claimed these were their lawyers and engineers. This response, as highlighted by Galadima, is often a red flag in land disputes. Any legitimate development, particularly one of significant scale, should have reported readily available verifiable permits and title documents on the construction site itself. This transparency is fundamental to proving legality and avoiding accusation of unauthorized encroachment. The most damning revelation came from Chijioke Nwankwoeze, the Director of Lands Administration. He clarified that what was eventually presented was merely a letter of intent issued in 2007 by the Department of Parks and Recreation. He was clear, this is not a formal approval. This distinction is critical. A letter of intent typically signifies preliminary interest or placeholder in process. It's a far cry from statutory certificate of occupancy, a building plan approval, or other requisite permits that grants full legal rights to the development land in FCT. The FCT's position that such a document, even if issued by one of their departments years ago, does not confer statutory title or the right to commence construction. This legal void is further emphasized by submission made by the Department of Land Administration and Department of Parks and Recreation on June 10, 2023, not 2025, as was perhaps misspoken in the video, which will be in the future, but rather it should be interpreted as reflecting the current resolution on previously questionable documents. This joint submission unequivocally recommended that all letters of intent and every approval of any sort on the basis of the letter of intent given by the Department of Parks and Recreation be withdrawn. Furthermore, it stipulated that individuals who were given these papers should send in their papers for vetting. This directive underscores a broader problem of potentially invalid or outdated approvals being used for development, and the FCTA's current administration is clearly intent on rectifying these historical discrepancies. Nwankwoeze's final assertion that the claimant had no statutory title to the property seals the FCTA's argument. In Abuja, land ownership and development are governed by specific laws and processes. Without a valid statutory title and development is effectively deemed illegal. This position taken by FCTA leadership under Minister Wike is consistent with this broader agenda to sanitize land administration in the capital, an agenda that has often seen him confront powerful individuals and institutions over alleged illegal allocations and developments. The incident is not just about one disputed plot, it reflects a systemic issue of land grabbing, improper allocations, and lack of transparency that has plagued the FCT for years. The FCTA's move to review and withdraw questionable documents, demanding reverting, suggests a comprehensive effort to bring order to the capital's land record. This also puts powerful figures, including those in the military, on notice that the rules of engagement for land ownership in Abuja are changing. The question now is, what next? Will the FCTA proceed with the demolition of the structure as it has done in other cases of illegal development? And how will the military institution react, given the involvement of their personnel? This episode will certainly test the resolve of the FCTA and its minister to enforce land laws without fear or favor. It highlights the critical need for all Nigerians, regardless of the status, to adhere to legal processes and due diligence in land acquisition and development. This is a clear message from FCTA. Possessing a mere letter of intent, especially on an outdated one, will no longer be considered sufficient legal backing for property development in Abuja. The administration is demanding formal valid approvals, and it appears ready to go to great lengths to ensure compliance and restore the integrity of the Abuja master plan. This ongoing effort to reform land administration is a crucial step towards creating a more orderly, equitable, and legally sound capital city. That's all for this detailed breakdown on the Abuja land disputes. The FCTA has made its position clear and will continue to monitor this story as it unfolds. What are your thoughts on this incident and the FCTA's stance? Do you believe this will lead to a more organized land administration in Abuja? Share your comments on the comments below. Before you go, if you found this analysis insightful, don't forget to share this video, like it, and hit the subscribe button to join the Boss TV family. We'll bring you the latest incisive analysis on present issues. Until next time, this is Boss TV, keeping you informed. Thank you.